The High Court has lifted a ban on demonstrations within the central business districts of Nairobi, Kisumu and Mombasa that was issued last week by Acting Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i. The opposition had criticized the ban as a move to intimidate demonstrators from pushing for electoral reforms within the IEBC. This comes even as the NASA leadership postponed street protests until Friday, citing increasing cases of police brutality against its supporters. Timothy Otieno reports.
It's the cries of a 2.5-year-old girl who has now become the latest poster child of political antagonism in the country that is seemingly reaching fever pitch. Chantel Mary Kageha was allegedly shot, according to her family, by police at their home in Nyamasaria Estate during the anti-IEBC demonstrations within Kisumu City.
Serikali lazima tuangalie hata sisi wenye hatukuwa kwa demonstrate kwa barabara. Mbona hizi vitu zinatutokezea?
That was yesterday. Today, the girl who had a bullet lodged on her left shoulder would be released from hospital after a successful surgery.
Mimi nilikuwa nadhani mtu amempiga na mawe. Kuangalia mtoto nikapata mtoto anatoka damu.
The discharge from hospital for the recuperating child who barely understands how a bullet would be shot at her direction comes on a day the High Court has lifted a ban introduced by Acting Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i against protesters entering the central business districts of the 3 major cities in Kenya.
Once again, the judiciary has struck a blow for constitutionality and the rule of law in this country, reminding those in power today that they are minions like Matiang'i, that the Kenyan people are free people with rights that cannot be taken away at their whims.
The stay order, as issued by Justice Chacha Mwita, also extended to preventing any arrest against NASA CEO Norman Magaya, as had earlier been intended by the Acting Interior Cabinet Secretary.
That we shall prefer judges, again is the said Mr. Magaya, and we are waiting for the report on the damages caused.
But barely hours after the lifting of the ban, NASA suspended its weekly demonstrations against the IEBC, citing increased cases of ethnic profiling by police against its supporters. In a statement from NASA leader Raila Odinga, the coalition states that, quote, "In honor of the innocent victims of the state, our protests will stay suspended." NASA is exploring means to hold Mr. Boynet, Mr. Matiang'i, and individual officers personally responsible for the murders. On Friday, we shall communicate our next course of action, end of quote.
Riots are not permissible. Policemen are supposed to quell riots.
We have worked so hard for this country to be where it is. We cannot afford to see somebody throw this country to the dogs.
And now the demonstrations and subsequent cases of police brutality have gotten the eye of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority. The authority has raised alarm over the increasing cases of police killings as the family of a Form 4 student who was shot dead in Kisumu yesterday demands justice. And even as NASA contemplates its next move, 2.5-year-old Chantel Kageha remains lucky to be alive. Her family grateful but fearful that if nothing is done soon to end the political stalemate, a lot worse could happen. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.